What's up, Trash Talkers? Here at Veteran Trash Talk, we actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a butter bar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran and their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
And so my honesty cap is dedicated to a little, we'll call it a public service announcement for civilians and other people in the military. There are a few people that you should always take their stories with a grain of salt. Vegans, CrossFitters, and special operations guys that tell you that they were special operations without being prompted. The first thing they say is, yeah, I used to be soft. Right. The only unicorn in that entire group is like a special operations guy that was like a vegan and did CrossFit. That guy's probably going to stay quiet for a little bit longer because he's confused as what he should talk about first. That's the only reason. Right. Anybody that says that they were soft without being prompted or without it being like a normal part of your communications is probably either an enabler or going to tell you a bunch of stuff that's not exactly true.
What's up, Trash Talkers? What's up, Gruntworks Nation? Big Earl. You heard Dave talk. You heard Buddy talk. Now, Buddy's all about, he is a Green Beret and he's Special Forces and yada, yada, yada. But he will not tell you that unless, he really, really likes you and he's made dinner for you. However, what Veteran Trash Talk does is we bring a lot of light to the veteran community, the first responder community. We promote that what we're doing well, all right, whether we're running for office, we started a business, nonprofit, all those things. Veteran Trash Talk is a super clean page. We got Gruntworks if you want to go there and raise a little hell a little bit, but we are here to promote veteran-owned businesses. So the show you are about to watch is a veteran or veterans or a spouse of a veteran or a child of a veteran that's doing great things in the community, and we need your help promoting them and getting them all all the success that they need. All right, guys, enjoy the show.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What's up, Trash Talkers? What's up, Gruntworks Nation? We are live. All right, and I get to do the intro because Dave, who is a kept man, has to actually go to work. And our guest actually wore the shirt that Dave came up with, where Dave is constantly triggered about, and he's not even here to appreciate it. All right, but the main reason,
I would be twinsy.
The main reason he's not here is because he has been making a fool of himself on Facebook with his centric points, and he did not want to have to deal with any of that recourse that's been coming out lately. So, we do miss him. However, he's hiding, so we don't miss him that much. Anywho, I got Buddy, and of course we have drama. We have drama in the PCS world, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But we got a return guest who's been on the show. What now? This is probably your fifth time if you include the fight show. So we got Tanner Port coming back on with Jimmy Thompson, the Marine Semper Fi, coming in from the Ozarks, in northern Arkansas. Interesting, buddy. You ever been in there? You ever been in the Ozarks in northern Arkansas?
I've driven through the Ozarks in northern Arkansas, and my brother-in-law is from Yellville, Arkansas.
How did I just know that you had something to do with it? Like, I just knew it. Like, that was not set up. But I'm like, I guarantee you, Buddy knows somebody in northern Arkansas.
I actually also, there was a guy in my platoon, Crazy, that was also from Yellville, Arkansas, which is a tiny little bitty town. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also Happy Derby Day. It's it's Kentucky Derby's about to take start off here in a couple of minutes.
All set up. Like, what's up?
Yeah, you got to have your little bourbon. You got to have your bourbon for your little Kentucky windage. Yeah, even though we are sponsored by a Colorado-based bourbon company.
Hey, but their bourbon is good though.
It really good, really good. 10th Whiskey. Go to 10thwhiskey.com. Put in the code VTT. All right, get yourself a discount. Monica coming in from North Kakalaki, North Carolina. Nice to have you on the show as well. But okay, yeah, Tanner, how's it going, man? What's going on? What's new?
Well, man, not much. Obviously, I've been a little triggered this week.
Well, we'll get into that. This is just
got back from Vegas. I was triggered while in Vegas, which takes a special amount of trigger. Right. For me, I'm having to, we're playing in the APA World Championship out there in Las Vegas. Heather played great. Me, not so much. That's how life goes. But was just having a blast. Went and saw the Sphere, watched Wizard of Oz. My parents came out. We made a whole week of it, ate really good. And then like simultaneously to that, much to my wife's annoyance, like every time I go on vacation, I get triggered. You know what I mean? And it was, and so I'm like on my phone, and she's like, if you could just like, for the vets out there, stay present, man. Don't be like me. You know what I mean?
I got to give a shout out though to Tanner Cruz. All right, from Fort Bragg. I actually made a mistake in booking. I booked the wrong Tanner, and the whole time, like I'm sitting there going, why is Tanner Port coming back on the show? Like, I don't know why he is, because it wasn't Tanner Port. It was Tanner Cruz was supposed to come on the show. So Tanner Cruz is going to be coming on the show next week. And we're going to talk about how he's doing a freaking phenomenal thing with the baseball field that they built for the pros.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And they're redoing it. And because, they just let that place go to crap. Okay. So he's starting a little baseball league around there and getting that stadium going again. So it's
out here by us.
Yeah.
Not else like where the Swamp Dogs used to play or whatever. Like, that's dope, man.
Yeah, and then, like I said, they built that stadium for that one game.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, the MLB one, yeah, out on Post, yeah.
And they let that go to
then they
shit.
stopped caring about it. And nobody, it's like a
also little shout out to Jimmy Thompson, who is also from, not a huge deal, Yellville, Arkansas, Marion County. Tell Tyler Junkin I said what's up. He's good
you
dude.
can name the population of Yellville,
Look
Arkansas
at
by
that.
the time we finish this episode.
They're just tracking people by their digital footprints. I honestly think it's not that hard. There's not that many towns in northern in the Ozarks, so it's not like it's a big deal. But anyway,
what's new with you, buddy? What's new with you?
I also got triggered this week and did something that I honestly thought I would never do. I was at work, so I was on Fort Campbell, and I saw a fifth group enabler running across the parking lot of the PX with a fifth group baseball cap and his hands so deep in his pockets. And then he started to run across the road, but he didn't take his hands out of his pockets, which is, first of all, unnatural. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's something going on there.
Yeah, you're just doing that because you think it's cool. It's not. And anyway, I finally called. I reverted a few years, and I yelled at him, made him go back to his car and get his beret.
You went back to 82nd NCO, not fifth group NCO.
Oh no, fifth group NCO would have done the same thing. But yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. No, I was so mad.
That is true. That is something.
The thing here's the thing that triggered me. The thing that triggered me is, like, if you're standing around, you got your hands in your pockets, I don't really give a shit. But if you're walking, it's unnatural to have your hands in your pockets. You use your hands to balance, to walk naturally like a human. If you're running, you definitely don't run with your hands in your pockets. Your daughter smashed a race this week. Did she have her hands in her pockets at any point?
No, she didn't even have pockets.
You actually have to use those.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's why they make those run shorts without pockets, so that you don't get tempted to run with your hands in your pockets.
The other thing that made me mad is when I sent him back to his car to get a regular hat after he told me that his first sergeant had authorized him to wear his baseball cap out on post. And I said, your first sergeant can't authorize shit because he doesn't have any authority. Go to your car and get your beret. He went to his car, got a beret. So he was sitting in his fucking car, and he had do the right thing, do the wrong thing, and try to look cool as a private. I'm going to do the wrong thing. It was like it's like climbing a mountain full of virgins to, like, fuck me over. That's what it's like. You're doing a lot of work to screw with me at that point. Then so I'm triggered. That triggers
on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, it is starting to sound a little personal, like targeted. You know, like,
no, I was upset. I was very upset.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then we got Tina called for Lagasse, Marine mom. All right. Well, hey,
you gotta have them too.
You can't. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put all the blame on you, Tina, but maybe you dropped them once or twice. Not sure. Like.
I mean, unless you talk to a Marine, most Marines will tell you that they just busted out of the gates of hell or something. Like, they come up with some wild story. You just came from a regular mom, dude. Come on, calm down.
Yeah, for sure.
Stop it. Maybe not a regular mom, but like a Marine mom. They're different.
Yeah. Well,
only a few of them.
Yeah. Well, I actually get to start the show off with something that I got into my possession a couple weeks ago. When I was talking at a track event, I was talking to one of the other parents who for the last couple of months, he's kind of been poking at me like, what kind of questions can I ask you about combat? And you know how you get that kind of feeling like this guy really wants to know. And so I finally was just like, bro, you can ask me anything you want, you know? And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, because I had my grandpa, he only really talked about it a few times in World War II. And, you know, he died when he was younger, so I didn't get to, ask him as an adult. And he's like, but thankfully we bought him a tape recorder. And he talks about something, and it's like, everybody listening, make sure you turn your volume up when Chris plays this, in case it's not loud enough for that you can hear. But This is pretty powerful, and I want you to pay attention to the parts where he gets choked up and has to stop the recording and then start over again. But this is probably why he didn't talk about it much. This story is pretty amazing, and it's on Spotify. So go ahead, Chris, play it. Enhance.
Those are recordings of my cousins and my uncle from 36 years ago when my Uncle John gave my grandfather a tape recorder to recount his stories of being shot down and as a prisoner of war during World War II. My name is Stu Redwine, and this is the sound of falling.
Left side was on fire. I'd bailed out, and then all at once she just blew right out of the sky. It was somewhere between 9,000 and 10,000 feet. It was colder than hell. Fairly clear, few clouds. I thought to myself, well, we hadn't had too much of any instructions except count to 10 to pull the ripcord. By the time I get a hold of the ripcord, started pulling on the handle, nothing happened. The chute didn't open. Then I saw, now I don't even have a hold of the ripcord. I've got a hold of the handle that you carry the chute around on, which is about 4 inches from the ripcord. So I reached up and I pulled that ripcord, and right away, little chute comes out. When that parachute opened, I prayed a little. Who wouldn't? You'd pray too. It's quite a sensation falling through those clouds. It's just deathly quiet. The waist gunner, his chute didn't open. Anyone could have had that chute, but it was, I don't want to make this recording about that. I hit the dirt and started running over towards Lee, and all of a sudden, dirt was flying up in front of me. 30, 40 Germans over the horizon there, all over the hill. Needless to say, I threw my hands in there and threw my 45 on the ground. Wasn't no need me fighting the whole German army. A few minutes, here came a German Jeep. They loaded Lee and myself up in the Jeep and took us to Frankfurt for interrogation. 5 days, 5 nights. That was a hellhole. You get to the point where you don't care, but you still don't talk. Because if you did talk, you might still be there. Or be 6 feet under. Take your choice.
He was shot down on January 21st, 1944, and liberated on April 27th, 1945. For much of that time, he was a prisoner of war at Stalag Luft 6 in Nazi-occupied East Prussia, what is now modern-day Lithuania.
I was in on one escape deal, and that's another story. It took us 6 months to work this thing up, and well, it didn't develop. It developed to the extent where a couple of them got shot, but, well, I don't feel like going into that right now. They walked us out of there. We was headed toward Berlin, so they told me. They called it the Black March. February's cold in East Prussia. We was on that march 68 days. You didn't walk. You didn't jog. You ran. In fact, if you didn't, you'd jab a bayonet up your rear, and that'd get you to going quick. The first 2 or 3 days is the roughest part. All you'd dream about at night was food. At least 2/3 of us, made it through that march. Some of that stuff should never be recorded. And it...
I already believed my grandfather was a courageous man, and as I listen back to these recordings and share them with you, I understand even more the courage it took to tell these stories, especially when I hear him hold back. And as I grow older, I understand the silence.
This story has been a part of my family for decades, and it means a lot to share with you. If you've got stories in your family, big or small, I hope this encourages you to preserve them. Even a single voice can echo through the generations, and they're worth preserving. Thank you so much for listening, and more soon, right here on Ad Infinitum.
All right. Oh man. Like, so I didn't preface it before we played it, but one of the things we talk about all the time at VTT and why we started this podcast and why we started going live originally back in the day during the COVID idiots was to talk things out, get those demons out. And then, we talked about how, these World War II vets were hard. And then you look up the suicide rates of World War II vets, it's the same almost. It's strikingly pretty similar. And so bottling it up and not talking about it didn't work for them. It's not going to work for us. And then again, if your kids can or your grandkids can just even hear that and understand what kind of man or woman, their relative was, it's so powerful. So yeah, I'll turn it over to you guys. Start with Buddy. What do you think, man?
I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff when you think about it, but I mean, we've been saying it for a long time, you know what I mean? And especially when it comes to those World War II and Vietnam and Korean War vets, they came back and they didn't, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's kind of a disservice. This is going to my honesty cap here in a minute, but, there were no excuses made for World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam vets. You came back and you got, if you didn't stay in the military, you got busy being a teacher or an engineer, sending people to the moon, like building rockets and computers and everything that we take for granted today that make our life the way that it is all because of, World War II, Korean vets, and not the generations of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. You know what I mean? Like, what have we invented lately that even compares to include war? Like, we cry and bitch and whine and moan about the GWAT. I mean, and granted, we lost people, we lost brothers, we lost sisters, you know what I mean? But we didn't lose brigades. We didn't lose entire battalions, companies a day. Like your company was there, they're not there anymore. Like we can't even imagine the type of loss that comes from having a peer-to-peer conflict with somebody that has an Air Force and a Navy and like can and or won't surrender, period. Like in the case of like the Pacific or the chosen guys from the chosen reservoir in Korea. And when you listen to them talk and then you realize like, again, to me, it's great to be thanked for your service, but at some point, like, got it. You're appreciative. Now let me get back to work and hold us to a standard of get back to it, get back to living, get back to doing your thing. You can't ride on the fact that you went to war 20 years ago for the rest of your life. Not your identity. It's just part of it.
Well said. Well said. All right, Tanner, what you got on that?
Dude, I love oral histories, and like I encourage anybody to go like the Wilson Project and stuff like that, where they have a lot of the Korean vet oral histories where you can just listen to these dudes in their own words. I had the privilege a couple weeks ago of he was a member of our post. He actually he passed away and his funeral was yesterday, and I missed it because we were coming back from Vegas. But Bud Wilson was a POW in the Korean War, and just you got to be humble and keep like what Buddy's saying, keep your service in relative check to those that came before us, man, because you don't want to. They didn't have the internet, and so when you start like that Mac SOG guys and all that, who are finally starting to get some love on some podcasting. When you listen to those stories, it's like, you know, Jesus, man. Like, and I wish more GWOT veterans, I think they would get connected more and be able to work through things if they harkened back to veterans from those conflicts and just listen to their stories and listen how they had to process with it. You know, we give the VA a hard time, right? But like, hey, bro, like it's not like they weren't dealing with mental health issues themselves, right? And keep everything like relative to. But that's awesome, man. I recommend to everybody, you know, if you have older veterans in your family, you know, sitting them down for like an oral history interview, if they'll do it. I tried to get my grandpa-in-law to do it. He had some pretty crazy Vietnam stories, and he just couldn't bring himself to do it. I'll keep working on him because I think it's important for his family and his great grandkids to be able to listen to that.
Yeah, well, you know, you can also go and request their when I was the last time I was in France, the neighbor gave us a bunch of World War II stuff from the 3rd Infantry. Anyway, I put it on Facebook. This guy from northern France, over closer to Luxembourg, like messaged me, and we started talking. And he does a lot of history stuff. Well, it turns out like he looked up my grandfather because it's a crazy story. Like I had a gas mask down there that they'd given us. I was like, you want this gas mask? He's like, no, I already have one. He's like, does yours have a name in it? And I was like, no. And he's like, mine does. And he opened it, and the last name was Beckwith.
Wow, shit.
Yeah, but it was from a guy that's from Boston. He had looked up the guys from the Boston area, but it was a crazy coincidence, whatever. But in like looking all that up, I found out that my grandfather, who I thought was like, I mean, I knew that he was a hard ass. I knew that he was a pretty tough dude. Like I found out that he got a Bronze Star with V device for actions in Germany when he was there. He was in the Chosin Reservoir with in Korea. Like he had got out right before Vietnam, but like none of that stuff. Like my dad had no idea that he had a Bronze Star with V, or that he had 2 Bronze Stars, that he like had done all this other stuff, that he had been, because he came in the Army as a mess sergeant, like a mess guy, and became a mess sergeant, but then got trained up and was a scout, then was a heavy weapons platoon guy in fucking Korea, and then a mechanic. Like you could do a lot of different things back then. But anyway, the moral of the story is that those guys didn't really talk. We have and I think that what it kind of illustrated for me is that there's a middle ground. Just like there's a political middle ground, there's generally a middle ground everywhere. Not talking is not great for you, but talking too much and it being the only thing that you talk about is not great for you. Like,
right.
Like be approachable and talk about it if you really want to, and talk to your boys and talk to the guys that you were there, and check on everybody, see how everybody's doing, without giving each other excuses. But at the same time, like they, like I said, like there's plenty of people that you hear about that were like heroic Silver Star, Medal of Honor, whatever, and nobody knew because they were just teachers.
Yeah,
right,
like,
right.
Mr.
Hey,
Whoever,
so K in the chat says, why do you feel like this generation is more willing to share, or is it just more visible? Question mark. Somebody answered her in the YouTube chat. I don't know if this generation is more willing to share or just more used to being in front of the camera or mic. That makes a ton of difference. I think my opinion on that, real quick, is I think that we are, like Buddy said, and I don't know if this is going to get into his honesty cap, but like we have to take advantage of what like the Vietnam vets did for us, what the World War II vets did for us, and that we have this great access of resources when we get out, and I think it's rewarding to the American people that they know where those resources are going and why they're going. So if we share those stories, one, we help ourselves, we help each other, but then two, I'm not asking like my daughters to understand what I did, but I do want the taxpayers to understand what they're paying for.
Yeah.
All right. And so, and I think that's why I think we see the value, and in my opinion, that I appreciate what everybody before me has done. So I like to share like how I'm benefiting from it. So
when it goes back to the bonus soldiers, man, like all the way to World War I, right? Them boys camped out on the White House lawn and on the National Mall and really laid the groundwork for, you know, the generations to come behind them. Like, no. Like y'all were supposed to pay us. We were supposed to get XYZ. But I do, I can imagine if they had like Facebook back then.
Chased them off.
Yeah. Well, all right, buddy. Honesty cap.
Okay. Well, that kind of segues into it, and it's not really a funny honesty cap this week. But you know, I guess I was doing a run the other day because I'm trying to get back into running, or at least jogging, and like it kind of hit me at one point, that, you know, I started getting into my head, and I was like, man, I'm just too old for this. I'm never going to be running a 6-minute mile anymore. I'm not like, what, I should probably just quit. And then I thought about it for a little bit, and it was kind of while I was running. And the thing is, like, there's a quote from Sun Tzu's Art of War. This isn't going to be the correct quote, not right from Sun Tzu. I don't speak fucking Mandarin, so calm down. But it basically is, when you're weak, make or act like you're strong. When you're strong, act like you're weak. And it kind of like came to me, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know, it makes sense that people would try to make a group of people who are in fact strong seem weak, or broken, or like that something's wrong with them, by telling them that they've got like all of these things and giving them all these drugs and PTSD and all this stuff. And then I thought about it like while I was running, I was like, yeah, but like I'm not as fast as I used to be. And the thing is, it's not that I'm not as fast as I used to be. It's that I fucking stopped. I stopped running, and now I've got to get back to be able to run. I may not be able to run 6-minute miles again for 4 or 5 miles, but I'll be able to run again. I'll be able to, but I've got to like, I'm not going to just jump back into it like I was 20 years old. And I feel like we as veterans, we think that our peer is the 25-year-old version of us, and and that's just not true. The 25-year-old version of us had already been in the Army for 5 years, and was training at least for 5 years, and was training that entire 5 years. That's why they do what we do. And then we get out and we stop. And you've got to jump back on the horse. You've got to get back up, and you've got to do the things to get yourself physically. You might not be able to run, but you might be able to bike. You might be able to do that thing where but if you don't fucking start, you're never going to start, and you are going to be you're just going to get weaker. And I think the way that kind of, you know, segues from what we were talking about before is, you know, it's kind of a gift and a curse to be thanked, because part of you is like, well, I've earned the right to become a fucking piece of shit. But if you look in the mirror and the person that you see looking back at you is the same person that you would have made fun of 10 years ago for being a fucking douchebag, and maybe you ought to do something about it. Maybe you should stop fucking thinking, well, I did my part. Yeah, you did your part for your country and your boys. Well, now it's time to do fucking something for yourself and your family, and fucking get healthy, get fucking motivated, and get back out and fucking do it. And I think I've gotten to the part in my like honesty cap, like, and or maybe mature version of me, where I'm tired of having smoke blown up my ass by myself and other people. And
How often you are.
I need for people to tell me to stop being a fucking piece of shit and go fucking do PT. Stop don't you've gained some weight. Well, stop being fucking fat, dummy. Like stop eating fucking fast food. Start fucking getting into a caloric deficit.
And you're a good cook too.
Like, yeah. Well, that's true, but you could cook other shit. And go out and fucking
Stop
do
frying
PT, do your fucking shit, get fucking motivated, and get back on the horse, and stop thinking that fucking, well, I'm done, I'm good. Like you're not. Like you that was what you did years ago. Now it's time to do something now. Like stop being a bitch.
Am I my brother's keeper? I love that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. And you're your own fucking keeper. And stop fucking like if you don't have to go, oh, that's too bad. Everybody's picking on you. You can literally tell your friends, hey, maybe you're the problem. Maybe stop being a fucking douchebag. Go that route. Like because everybody's telling you that you're a fucking for you. You know what I mean?
Was that which one, Kirkover or Velez?
No, Divide calls me fat.
Like Divide,
because we're working there together.
Kirkover called me a fat piece of shit before the fucking when we started. We were in Kuwait for the 2009 fucking deployment, and I was probably 250 pounds or so. By the time we left that deployment, I was 195 pounds. Mostly because he called me fat, but he also doubled down by just they didn't feed us, so it was good. We just starved.
I mean, that's what I tell people. The best diet that I ever had was on that same deployment too, where they just didn't bring us food, and it was like that worked. That worked. We all lost like 40 pounds.
Put you in a caloric deficit, but to be honest, like that's why I liked Kirkover as much as I like Kirkover. Because he did. He was like,
he was gonna tell you.
He was like, hey, why are you fucking fat? Like, stop being fucking fat. And I was like, all right.
While he's gutting beach nut and yelling at you, like his teeth are all mangled.
He was fucking scrawny. Yeah. But he was skinny. But he also did. He brought it up that one time, and he didn't bring it up again. Like the end of the deployment, he was like, "Good job." Like, hey, yeah. I was like, all right.
Old Kirk Dizzle. Man, oh man, stories that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, a whole other podcast.
Kirkover. That's a whole other that's a whole series, bro. Like
BTT after dark.
Yeah, BTT after dark. Or with Talk Monkey could probably talk about that. So that'd be a good one. Well, all right. Now we get to get on to the good stuff. And I was gonna say we got a lot of viewers right now. And I'm gonna say it's because Dave's not here. All right, that's probably why. But we also got a lot of love on the X Factor. We got the Grand Admiral of Propaganda, one of our good friends. He's like, I'm watching this from WTF. And then we got a bunch of people on YouTube making comments. So I love you guys for doing that. So I get to bring Tanner on and talk about this because, am I my brother's keeper? I saw Tanner being triggered as fuck on Facebook. And I'm like, what is his problem now? Right. So I'm trying to get into this. I'm trying to find out. And again, like Buddy said in his honest cap, good segue, it's your friend's responsibility to be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what is your problem? All right. Like, do you need help with something? Because you're being a triggered motherfucker right now. All right. And what was bothering me was he came on the show and bragged about this company. And I follow this company and I'm like, wait a minute, am I fucking retarded? Like, and we can say that word now because Trump's in office. So am I fucking retarded? Like, what's going on? Because I could have swore we were talking a lot of good stuff about this company, and I'm like, maybe I'm stupid. So I'm looking it up. So what is going on in the PCS world? Because you guys are doing a ton of advocating. Like, doing a lot of good work for the service members. What is the problem? What are we going to talk about, Tanner?
All right. So I bring this because you're right. I was triggered. right? Clearly, this got my attention. I don't want to say I'd moved on from the GHC PCS stuff, but it's in transition right now, and it's like we're in Congress now, so like social media, in my opinion, is not going to really change how this thing shakes out. So this isn't necessarily about that. It became about something that I wrestle with, because I feel like I advocate for, you know, what I like to believe are righteous veteran causes. But I kind of had this question for myself, is like, when am I in the got to pay my bills? You got me back. When I'm in the advocacy
pay your internet bills.
Yeah, right. When do you cross the line, right? Because what I love about VTT, right, is when y'all get on, it's like, hey, we vet our sponsors, and there's just clear articulation, right? Damn, the advertisements are in the corners half the time, right? You know what I mean? You get that kind of thing. And so what has been going on, so that being said, because candidly, Nick, this transcript will be in a court case here in a couple weeks. So let me, in the spirit of transparency.
In that case, 10th Mount Whiskey, put in the code VTT Court and get a discount.
Yeah, that's why they got to read it, right? They got to read the whole thing. Let me give you my disclaimers, who I'm talking for and who I'm not, right? Like, so my name is Tanner Port, retired paratrooper, got out as a CW3, medically retired, fell through a tree, right? I sit on VFW on the national level, state level, and post level. I'm not talking for any of them, right? This is just me. I sit in the AUSA board of directors for North Carolina. I'm not speaking for them. I do not reflect their opinions. And then what's the other? Military Affairs Council here for the Fayetteville Chamber. I'm not speaking for them, right? This is just Tanner Port, concerned citizen, veteran, right? So when I got out, there was this company, and she's, Nick, you've sat in meetings with her. I think she's in the chat right now, right? A very close family friend of mine's. I really didn't know anything about the PCS process or what was going on, but they're a close family friend, been for about like a decade. And I found out basically, hey, we're about to go bankrupt. We're not going to relive the GHC stuff, but that's how I got involved in this. Simultaneously to that, I'm an oil guy. Like, I do data management for mineral stuff. And I had this company, and she basically gave me $100 a month to help me have another client when I did my capability statement for some contracts I was trying to get. That's the only money I've ever received from the moving industry. Clear, right? Like, that's it. So let's call it $1,000. That commercial that y'all helped me promote about the GHC, I paid out of pocket before she ever paid me $1,200, whatever. So that's my conflict, like, of interest. I sit as a consultant for this 19-year-old kids company called PPM Ready. It is in theory in the space we're about to talk about. But I seriously, I haven't got a single check from that. Losing money right on that right now. So I say all that to say this: Megan, the lady that runs PCS like a pro, much better business person than me when it comes to this stuff, right? So what ends up happening is, we have two kind of military spouses of the year, ironically enough, right? And they both own companies in this space. One of them owns Logza, and then there's Megan, who owns PCS like a pro. And like I said, I haven't been paying too much attention to what's going on, but I start seeing some of these screenshots. And if you could bring up the first one, and it's essentially Megan with her platform. She's got over 80,000 followers. She sits on a bunch of panels. And she kind of brings up this, and she basically says, I'm no longer supporting this company, right? And again, this is a veteran company. And one of the things that got me at the end, and we'll show you on another one, was she's basically here saying they're operating illegally. Pretty strong claim, right? And she uses words like presumably and everything like that. Cool. That started my spidey senses started tingling, right? And so I made a post about it, and she responded to me with this, which basically my question is there's a major moving company called Sudith. I was like, she had done an interview on the same local news station. Sudith is out of Jacksonville, Florida. She does this interview She's featured in this segment, and then the CEO of the company is featured in this segment. Now, the reason I know who the CEO is because he was the first guy that had a crack at the GHC contract, and he lost it due to, the government pulled it back for him. Before the KBR thing, his company fucked it up, right? And so, fine, they fuck it up. And now when the KBR round came around, so now we're a couple of years later, he's doing an interview in the same segment. And that was kind of weird to me because I was like, it's strange that this local news station, who's featuring the CEO of this company complaining about this contract, got PCS Like a Pro Megan on there. And if there's anything I learned in this advocacy space, is most things don't happen by accident, right? And so I kind of started digging into it, and that's my, is my understanding, Nick, you invited her on the show. That was my question was, she seems to say, and you see it here, she's talking about, I separate my advocacy from my consulting, right? Now, personally, I don't know how you do that in the same space. And then I certainly don't know how to do that when she's in partnership with Seduth. They have a company called Easy PPM together. I'm not sure you can separate your advocacy from your consulting and then target a veteran-owned company inside of your market and not tell everyone that you, in fact, are paid over 6 figures by major moving companies. Now, we are capitalists. I do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I want people and veterans to have successful businesses. However, this just seemed like bad form to me. And so once I kind of dug a little bit deeper into it, and she kind of opens the door to this, and right here, and this is how I got it, because I'm sure it'll be a part of court case. I'm not going to share the email. I will read a thing from it, but she says maybe you should ask her about the email she never responded to. So I emailed them and said, hey, what about this email? And they did respond to her. So we kind of have a lie there, right? So, and essentially in it, it's them kind of going back and forth. But in it, one of the things that was disturbing to me, right, is that one of the claims that Logues had was that they had removed her, or they had removed their company from her group. And she said at the time, and she says in multiple things, that she's never done that. In the email to them, and I'll just read it. I wanted to send this email to both so the conversation, nothing gets miscommunicated, blah, blah, blah. The decision to remove you both from the group is strictly a business decision. As I am growing my consulting work this year, I had a meeting recently with a company who felt it was an unfair advantage to have a, quote, military spouse moving company, end quote, allowed into the group when everyone else in the industry is not allowed. Full stop. That's out of her mouth. She told me to go ask for the email. I asked for it. I received it. Pro tip, Megan, when you're sending stuff like this, you put the little confidential blurb on the bottom to where if they, people can't share it, but maybe, just put that.
Maybe the IO propaganda should have helped her out, right?
Maybe just a little bit.
The Grand Admiral, yeah. Go ahead.
That's my question to my leading entrepreneur friend, who I have a lot of respect for. And, me and you operate in this space where we advocate, and, we either have little small businesses. You are obviously a lot more successful at this than me. I'm working on my PhD. Yeah, a lot more. And I'm working on my PhD, and I want to teach college history, man. Like that's my bag. Like, this isn't really my thing, but the Vet Guardian thing told me, dude, we got to do a better job of policing our own. And if I have 2 veteran companies and we kind of have this thing going on, and then I have somebody who's supposed to be an advocate for veterans and spouses and everything like that, saying blatantly she has removed veterans from a group based on a commercial interest that she has because it's unfair, then yeah, I'm going to make some noise about it. There's some more stuff in that email that I won't get into right now, but essentially it's, she gets paid over 6 figures. Close to $150,000 a year, it said, for her, because this company tried to hire her. And basically what she heard back was from her, it's going to cost you would have to pay me $150,000 because that's what I make from the industry.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that with as you sit on Transcom panels and advise GOs about what is right for the service member. And I bring it to the floor. Am I triggered for no reason? You tell me, Nick.
Well, remember, you got to understand the trigger pansy shirt, right? We say it's okay to get triggered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with it. It's when you start making it everybody else's problem that you become a pansy, right? You don't handle it yourself. Like you said, in all fairness, we did invite her on the show because to be fair and balanced, like Fox News, right? Like Bill O'Reilly, I think was that his name? Was it Bill O'Reilly?
We'll do it live.
But yeah, like we're doing it live. And that's exactly what I said on Facebook. We'll do it live. On the Veteran Trash Talk and Gruntwork side, we like to say that there's three sides to a story, like a lot of leaders always do. There's your side, their side, the truth, a little bit of mixture of both, Benjamin Franklin strategy. But yeah, again, I love capitalism, right? Capitalism is the greatest thing ever. Created compound interest, right? It truly is. Allows people to make something out of nothing. However, there's this fake term that's called crony capitalism, right? There's no such thing as crony capitalism. It's just corruption. Like bottom line, all right. If you're doing things that are shady in that realm, then yeah, it's definitely nobody's above reproach. Unlike your NCOER bullet, right? Nobody's above reproach. So what I would ask is why this? Is it because I was reading one of the responses by her that she said it became personal, right? A lot of the breakup became personal.
Yeah.
So
she addresses that in her email to
right.
them.
Like I said, I read that it became personal, and I'm okay. So are you at what stage are you using to get back at this person? Like what are you using, like PCS as a pro? Because like I said, we followed them, we supported them, we blew them up, right? Like they didn't need much of our help, but any help matters. Like any little bit of press helps. But what's the difference between like a military spouse that's, let's say, in the food industry, right, and they advocate for better food, or somebody that's in the child care industry, they have their own child care business, but then they advocate for better child care? Is that a conflict of interest? Like or like what do we? Tell me what the fuck moment says we boosted them too, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have boosted them, but like, should she be allowed to?
The question that you're getting to is it really depends on what capacity she's consulting in. Like, is she consulting with the moving companies for?
Is a pretty.
Well, yeah, but she could be consulting as an advocate for military like families. You know what I mean? Like giving them that she could be consulting them on how their policies would affect military members. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying it would hinge on that. And then the other thing is like there's a big difference between unethical and illegal. And what she's doing is bordering on a little bit of, definitely depending on how she's consulting.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it could be unethical. It could be kind of tap dancing on illegal in some way, but I think it's probably more just unethical. But I do think that it is incumbent upon other people to ask the questions and put it out there. Because it's if you are using your status as a spouse or your inside information as a military member to screw over, like to do things that are better for a company or the military, you're kind of a Benedict Arnold type of situation going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I reviewed, because like I said, I was triggered. So I would have 16 CFR 255.5 is the basic disclosure rule of the FTC, right? And it's on the books for between people that are doing material connections between endorsers and advertisers. Right now, my little, whatever Chat GPT legalese opinion is like she's clearly in violation of that because she's targeting. Like she makes the post where she says that they're operating illegally, like to her audience, right? And she says that y'all shouldn't mess with them. And then she comes back onto my page and she says, no, this was personal. And then in the emails that she has between them, there's no mention of this y'all are riding dirty illegal claim. It's because at a conference, she felt slighted. And then she also felt slighted because the owner of the company wasn't pushing as hard during the GHC. Now, the reason the owner wasn't pushing hard is because her husband's an active duty officer, right? And so she was, I don't want to be out there really going hard. So Megan felt like she'd been slighted in the sense that she had been left out to dry. She uses words like, I was doing this all on, I was out there fighting for it on my own. You can psychoanalyze that all you want. So it became really evident to me. It was like, okay, this is absolutely personal. Fine. I'm okay with that. Right. If you don't like each other, like, cool. You know what I mean? However, that's not what you're presenting to your audience, right? You're presenting that they're operating illegally and actively damaging their company. And oh, by the way, they're not, right? Like that. And I've seen enough.
That's just defamation at that point, or
yeah. So the only reason I got to talk about the email in here is literally shout out to Megan. She said, go ask for it. Right. So I went and asked for the email and they were like, we had a back and forth and, they all got lawyers and stuff, which is cool. But, it's just me. But like these people and I'm not knocking either of them there.
Who needs lawyers when you got ChatGPT, bro? I'm expert.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like this is entry level, but I did have to take a moment because I hit submit on the FTC report and I was like, Nick's gonna get a kick out of this. I got so triggered. It was like I was like, I'm filing trade complaints because to me it's bad form. I want to see all veteran companies do well. We don't do well when we fight with each other. I've seen enough of the email traffic to know that the Lowe's company has actively tried to mend this fence, which led me to believe, she says it in her own words, because she's being paid by the same people that ruined the PCS industry to begin with. And so that's my question, Megan, is when did you start getting paid by them? Were you paid by them back in 2023, 2024, 2025, when this process was going through? When you did that interview, I understand you didn't get paid for the interview. Are they the ones that scheduled it for you? Right? Because that company is in active federal litigation. And the only reporter or journalist that called you on it, you never admit that. It was like we put the link in the chat later, but it was like an Air Force Times report. It was like, this person consults for a moving company that's in active litigation. Well, they were suing the government. And to not disclose that and be forthcoming with your audience while you're trying to sell them products and you're pushing certain companies, especially at the detriment of a veteran-owned company. Oh yeah, by the way, the Army Spouse of the Year runs the company, and you're saying she's riding illegal. Like you're saying the Army Spouse of the Year is riding dirty, right? That her company is riding dirty. She is participating in an illegal activity. You're making that claim on Facebook with no substantiation. None. You don't provide any. And I've seen their side of it, and it looks like they're legal. Regardless, this would be like a civil little thing, I would imagine. But it's been taken out of there, and that's really my question. Is like, what's the line, man? When can we? What disclosures do you have to give? But this one didn't seem right. So yeah, I got triggered about it, and now I'm on here talking to y'all.
No, that's perfect. Because again, I don't want to necessarily turn this into a bashing Megan thing because she's not here to defend herself.
Things.
Yeah, but like Rebecca in the comment says, Megan is paid for by SUDETH and she hides from her customers. She gives classes on base to promote service members using SUDETH. Who was the old Div Sergeant Major that used to tell us to use that old loan process, the VA loan process, Remember that we get to class like every freaking, and they would give the jump master year like $5,000. They give the paratrooper there like $10,000. Oh, by the way, if you need money, come to us. You know,
like, the Omni military loan people.
That's what it was. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, that wasn't VA loan. That was payday loans. Basically,
they got payday loans. Yeah.
Oh, they got.
I'm like,
good God.
And again, the bases. So Rebecca, the bases are letting her on. Right. So I'm just playing not the devil's advocate, because I'm not calling Megan the devil, but like if the bases are letting her on, does she not have any clout? Is there a reason why? Does her opinion, should we listen to her opinion about what this other company's doing? Tanner,
well, JAG, a simple request through JAG could, they should investigate it.
I think she stands on that in her mind, which I disagree with, that these two things are separate. What I would counter with is the only reason these companies are paying you this amount of money that if it costs you, to pull you away from them, you cost $150,000. The only reason they're paying for that is the access to your audience, which I am fine with, right? But it's about time we started getting, but then when you're questioned about it, like, well, who else paying you? Right? Because that's who's flying you around to do all these panels and everything. Cool. And I'm happy that you're making the money, but are you disclosing, yes, I'm paid by these people, XYZ? And then, especially if you're going to go against another company that's operating in the same market, and then just the triggered part, a veteran-owned company, and you're going to dress it up like they're doing something illegal, then I kind of have questions about what your motivation is, right? And then it starts to make me question going back, well, when did you really start getting paid by them? Because you've been advocating on behalf of the PCS, like I was a full believer, right? But some of the things that happened in the GHC and, trying to push the PPMs and not understanding, and me and her had an exchange a couple of weeks ago where I was like, you're misrepresenting what the moving industry is, because you just say the moving industry, when actually it's two different things. The Transcom's created this crazy bureaucracy that moving companies have to deal with. And so that's one industry. And then there's the entire other like commercial moving industry, like if you were just going to move to your house, and they operate under a completely set of rules. And her response was, to the military community, it's the same thing. They don't look at it differently. And I was like, well, that's where your job would come in to educate them, because you clearly know. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of, that to me, she's got some explaining to do. Like, as somebody who was a fan, dude, you can rewind the tapes, y'all. Go back. I'm shouting her out all the time when we were going through the GHC of doing.
Yeah, we shouted her out on the show. Yeah. And so did WTF Moments. Yeah.
And then this happens, and she clearly kind of gets caught. And I get it, man. If she got triggered and it got personal, fine. Then you probably deserve like a recant. Like, hey, y'all, like I was mad, whatever. I actually don't know if they're operating illegally. I'm just assuming XYZ. I have no proof of it. But and by the way, I'm working for this other company.
I was gonna say, what do you think? What would be an end state for you that would rectify the situation? Obviously, she buys the "Quit Being a Triggered Pansy" shirt. I think she needs to buy that because again, everybody watching, that shirt is a message to yourself. That it is not a political shirt. It is, we all get triggered. We all do, right? And now what do we do when that happens? So let's just say, hypothetical, or not even hypothetical, but just, this is the way it played out. She got triggered, like you said, and then she went off the rocker and did this, that, and that. What brings this back besides buying a Triggered Pansy shirt?
My gut is that these two entities are going to go to court. Because there's been real financial damage done at this point. At least from my understanding. And I think that there needs to be a clear, because it's all shrouded with her. That's kind of my issue. It's like, I got no issue with the consultant. I'll tell you, I've been paid by Piedmont Van and Storage $1,000. National Van Lines gave $2,500 to the AUSA golf tournament, right? That wasn't paid to me. And that's just because I knew the guy via this stuff. Those are my industry connections. right? It's probably, if you're going to be advocating as a PCS military expert, you should probably disclose on your website who all you take like 1099s from that are major moving companies, because she gets invited to all these councils. Like she was on the Transcom informal, like the Transcom CG or whatever, had her on a panel, right, to advocate for spouses. They deserve to understand if you're being paid by $100 million company, like, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, you should probably disclose that. Like, I think I would be like, hey man, like, anytime I got close to bumping it, Nick, like, because you know how it was, we had people we knew in the Pentagon, right? And it would be like, I told him at one point, one of the CEOs, I was like, I'm not going to ask any more questions because I felt like I've reached the point where I need to register as a lobbyist if I'm going to like carry your storyline. You know what I mean? Right. I was like, so I can do that. And then I'm going to tell everybody, yeah, I'm lobbying for the movie industry. But then when, in that conversation, I just didn't feel comfortable with it. So I backed off, you know? And so great question, Rebecca.
The other thing is like that. Okay, so she definitely has some type of responsibility to be upfront about her relationships with other companies. But at the same time, like, you know, if you're going to have her on a panel, it's also your responsibility to ask the questions. And if she lies about it, then that's one thing. If you're gathering a panel of so-called experts and you don't understand what they all bring to the table or what their relationships and I mean, that's kind of on them too. You know what I mean?
I think that's
more on them than others.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair, man. I don't have the answer, Nick, but I think as the military influencer space gets bigger, which by the grace of God, I would never consider myself one and don't want nothing to do with it.
Oh, you're way past that, bro. You're already there.
Yeah, bro. But dude, they go to conferences and stuff, bro. Picture me at a military influencer conference. That ain't never happening, bro.
Like I follow you for more. I follow you for more than as a friend. Like there are things I follow you for because I'm like, what's going on in the VFW world? Like what's going on in the AUSA world? Because I got money in both of those. Like I give money to both of those organizations. So I'm sitting here like, let me find out. So you're definitely there. And to the Grand Admiral of Propaganda, you know, he said, well, I need one of them $150,000 jobs. Like, yeah, bro. Like you can get it. I got one of those, and I do that all the time on the show. Dude, suicide prevention. I found a way to get paid to train suicide prevention.
Yeah.
All right. And then that all spun off of this show. So whenever I talk about that company, I'm like, hey, this is not about the company, and I'm not going to trash anybody else who is in that realm of suicide prevention, because why would I? I might not agree with the way you're doing it or the way that you want to do it, but you are in the business of helping people. So what do I attack? I attack policy. Yeah. All right. I don't ever attack another person doing something great in the suicide prevention world. Like that is the whole point of capitalism. It's like there should be multiple things that we can do, multiple ways we can do it, you know, multiple people we can choose from. And again, you start slandering somebody, and again, I'll use my soapbox to slander suicide prevention. I was just talking with an awesome lady from the LAVA in charge of their suicide prevention program, and bringing up some of the problems that we have. And again, the main thing is like we live off of a doctrine in prevention, and in one line it says must be evidence-based, and they use that shit as religion. Right? They use it as religion, like, and that stops innovation, right? So I don't want to take away from it, but again, the VR company that I got a job with, that I now consult for, again, if I talk about it, it's because I get paid by them, right? They give me money. However, it's the best training I've ever seen.
Yeah. Ever.
And I say it all the time. I go, if you want to show me better training, I will come work for you.
Yeah. No, dude.
I will jump ship and say, I'm working for those guys because they have better training that helped save my battle buddies' lives. So, like, man,
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's. I don't know if I can do the AAR, buddy. Can you do the AAR? Do we even know what's going on?
It's not my job to do the AR. I didn't take notes, so I can't do it.
was
I
my
can't
job.
do AR on this whole like moving thing because like I'm.
So
shit is wild.
we don't necessarily have to AAR. The race ain't the Derby hasn't started yet, but it's getting close. We don't have to have to. But so I guess backtrack. There's a problem in the PCS world where KBR is like hiring dudes from the back of a Walmart, putting them in U-Hauls, right, and just packing the shit, and they're getting these massive contracts, and it's going to the lowest bidder. And then there's smaller companies and then larger companies that did a really, really good job at PCS and soldiers, and made it very, did what we expected. And then when something broke, we did we filed our forms and they paid us back or blah, 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 whatever. And that got all jacked up last year. PCS, like a pro, some other ones started up. And now it sounds like somebody is sold out. That's kind of what we're getting to. Yeah, and it happens. It's not the first. It happens. No. Like, pay attention in DC. Somebody gets elected. They get, I'm going to do this, that. And then all of a sudden.
Yeah, who you telling? Yeah.
I ain't saying that no more because,
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not optimistic, but hopefully everybody can work it out and like we can just support each other. But I pride myself on somebody that likes to call balls and strikes, and this ain't no strike, man. This is.
And every once in a while you get it wrong, and they got the umpire zone, right? Every once in a while, like, man,
that's why I came to you. You are my umpire zone in this. Like that's why. Like I was like, hey, like I'm make sure I'm not crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
well, hopefully Megan can get her legal things ramified and then come on the show and give her side. Now, hopefully we can do that, give her that fair shake and that justice. But man, oh man, and I do have to give a shout out to WTF Moments because again, I'm a troll. I am a Facebook terrorist.
That's OG, man. OG status right there.
And I remember I went at WTF Moments for fun, and oh boy, did they get triggered. Oh man, like, didn't we help you out a couple years ago? And I'm like, yeah. So, like you do realize that Gruntworks has like 600,000 followers. VTT's got like 200,000 followers. You guys got way more. But like, I was just started this bullshit for fun. Like, I'm just saying, some of your admin got a little bit soft side, and I get that because not the special operations side, but the just soft as baby shit side. Like, and like, whoa, because administration's gonna change and the hard motherfucker's gonna come back, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, hey, I love you, WTF, and that's what we should do. Like veteran-owned companies, things doing great things for veterans. Love each other, do everything we can. And then again, like Buddy said in his honesty cap, it's part of the AAR. Man, call your battle buddy out when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Call them out. Hey, bro, you put on some weight. You good? Well, like maybe get on a treadmill. I don't know. and then maybe it helps, but that's kind of did I kind of capture that AAR for you, buddy?
Yeah,
like on your honesty cap.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. You get fat. If your friend gets fat, tell him to work out.
Stop being fucking
tell
fat.
Him to work out. And then I will brag.
Your fucking PTSD is not an excuse to be a fucking douchebag. Just fucking get out and start fucking working at it. You're not gonna run fucking fast, but you could at least fucking go for a goddamn walk, you fucking turd.
Have you tried being stronger? That used to be my favorite.
Have you tried jumping higher? Right?
Just stop saying I'm fucking old. I'm too old for. Shut the fuck up, nerd. Like, be fucking. Don't be goofy. Just be fucking.
Well, some of us didn't lie on our VA ratings. You know what I'm saying? I can't run, bro. I
know
got all
you can't
motivated.
run. You know what you can do? You can do this, guy.
Yeah.
You can do this,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, hey, Vet Radio Syndicate says, have a good show, gentlemen. Again, the Greek is late. The Greek freak is late. George, if you don't follow Vet Radio Syndicate, go follow them. They're really cool. George is a really cool guy. He's harder to listen to because he's punch drunk, but he's a really, really good guy. And he's an Ohio fan. So he calls me Banana Pepper Arms, right? Like, so apparently he knows how to do like heel hooks and shit. So I never lost to him. But anyways, yeah. So there we have it. Go follow them. The walk is the trigger. Yeah. Sylvia. Yeah, she's right. Yeah.
What's triggering about a walk? It's fucking.
I'm just saying, you got the walk. Yeah. Go get the shirt.
Yeah.
But no, hey, great show. Go to shop.veterantrashtalk.com. Go get all of our awesome merch. We have all the Gruntworks designs there. And notice I didn't say grunt style. And now that's another thing, because I'm going to keep it going because I hate Chris. Chris has been pissing me off, our producer. So the longer we stay on, the longer he's got to stay on. And it just is what it is. All right, Gruntworks, the shirt. Yeah, go get PTSD is making me fat. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
That's why I got fat. Sylvia's all over it, bro. Like, maybe I should actually have, them on the show because I promised them like for the last 2 months I would, and I just keep forgetting. So go scan. Hey, I attack Grunt Style. Why? Because they're not veteran owned anymore. Yes, they do have veterans that have shares in the company. That's like saying the Green Bay Packers are veteran owned. All right. The majority of Grunt Style is not veteran owned anymore. And that's all I'm trying to say. And
the foundation does amazing work.
They do amazing work.
I want to be very the delineation, right?
The Grunt Style Foundation does tremendous work. Yeah. Right? Like nobody's ever saying they don't, but I'm if you want to buy a shirt, it's actually better known. And they actually stole Gruntworks crayon line. Just gonna put that out there. Like we came up with it first. The proverbial, did I say that right? Proverbial we, right? That one right there.
Proverbial is the word you're looking for.
Proverbial. Yeah.
Proverbial we.
Yeah. Green Bay is a veteran owned company because there are veterans that have shares. That is true. Right. However, they are owned by a corporation, and God bless the founder, and God bless the Grunt Style Foundation. All right, they are awesome people, and the people I just like I said I got triggered because I got people on VTT official like you better take this down before you get sued, and I'm like, sued for what? Sued for telling the truth? Good luck on that, homie. But all right. And yeah, I get it. The VFW works with Grunt Style. I get it. The VFW also just, we're not, that's next show. Tanner, I'm going to have you on as a guest host next show because we got to go after the VFW. We're doing it. All right. We're going to talk about it again. Like we have to because it triggers me. Yeah. I need to understand why I'm trying to bring Drew Hernandez, combat veteran, to your post to bring thousands of people there. A thousand, if it's free, 1,000 people will show up.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want them there because you're worried about Porta Johns, bro. Porta Johns. All right.
Talk about practice.
How about we just like a slit trench? You guys got slit trenches, John?
We start digging them.
There you go. G-Con, the colloquial we. I can't talk when I'm drinking bourbon, guys. I cannot pronounce the Q's. I cannot pronounce the Q or the proverbial. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. The York peppermint patty candy. All right, say that out loud. All right, that's tough.
Patty? Wasn't it a peppermint patty?
You screwed up.
But you didn't say it correctly. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck
I can't say it. I just told you I can't say those letters when I'm
drinking bourbon.
Will you leave me alone? All right. Hey, before we go, what is the back of your non-owned veteran trash talk shirt say?
Oh, that's a Marine shirt, to be honest.
Yeah. I know.
Like if you were ever a machine gunner, you know what's up with the
Praying for squirters.
pray for squirters.
All right. Yeah.
Pray for
Love it. Love it.
That's solid.
All right. Well, hey, Tanner, thanks for coming on. Let us know what's going on in the PCS world. Big shout out to MBR Radio. Big shout out to Vet Radio Syndicate, and another big shout out to U.S. Army What the Fuck Moments for sharing this and helping people understand. Hey, if you're having any problems, PCS, man, reach out to us. We'll put you in the right direction. We'll get you in touch with Tanner. All that stuff. Yeah.
If I end up in court, you want to come be my can I have you be my lawyer? Just you.
I'll be your I've been watching enough of that Lincoln Lawyer to know what I'm doing in the courtroom.
Yeah. No, dude, we kill it. We would represent ourselves.
And then I'll watch
I object.
I watched my cousin Vinny, right? So we're good.
We'll go in there talking about rear transmissions or rear axles.
Yeah, with the 64 or something. Yeah,
Buick Skylark, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, Buick Skylark. That's what it was. Yeah. And then, one more thing before we close out. Heatherport chalk is free. All right. Tanner went live and you missed a shot, and I noticed you didn't chalk it up before you went. And doesn't she have it on her belt too?
Man, look, I'm not trying to embarrass you. I know my wife's got a nice ass, man. The shit don't fit back there, bro. She got to keep it on the table.
I thought I saw it. So, but just remember, chalk is free, and I want to take some credit for her victories because when I typed that, she started winning.
She did. Right? She did win that match. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But shout out to Heather and doing awesome in pool. And then our producer's a pool player too, but he's a sandbagger. I think he got up to a 6 now in APA. I gotta get that shit. All right, hey, shop.veterantrashtalk.com. We will see you guys next week.